Hello, my name's Patrick. Welcome to my show. I sprayed some holy water for my show. Look at this. This is sage I found in the forest. I pick it. It's expensive nowadays, and it's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then I have other relics and things of that nature. I have where is everything? Oh, I don't want to get it, but I have pieces of wood that I have, something similar to this, and I find them, and they're 10 vibration. Basically, they're the highest vibration you can get on Earth, and I know where these are. I know where these are. You can't find them. I had a piece of wood. My brother, the brother who passed away a couple years ago. He sent me a necklace from like someone a hermit who lived in the woods, and people were talking to him, and he sold these pieces of wood, and I doused it. It's like an 8. It's fine. This is 33. This is like it came from the cross of Jesus, the crucifix. But this doesn't. This is a piece of bark, and I have a few other pieces, and I probably should wear them. I don't know. It's not made for the public, really, And I didn't want to. I noticed that the sorcery is on steroids in the last few days, and that's because something's going to happen, I believe. And you remember the explosion dream I had a month or so ago, and then the whole point of that dream is, and it was far away in the horizon, and I'm running towards it with a couple other people. I go, wow, look, it's like a nuclear explosion. I mean, it was big. It was a really big deal. And as we approached it, we all noticed there's only a couple other people. There's a nuclear warhead, ICBM, in the middle of the explosion, and the fire that was created is moving towards the missile. And if that happens, it's going to even be a bigger explosion and kill us, the rescuers. And then, now that hasn't happened yet, but there's a few things I haven't doused yet. And so, there's 2 things. What is this? Here. Here's a cool one. Look at this one. That's a pretty good pendulum. I'm thinking in my head, is it the Queen's Chamber or the King's Chamber? You remember in the pyramid, it had this. Can you see this? There you are. It had these layers in the pyramid. A good book on the pyramids was written 30 years ago by Lucermier. God, I can't pronounce his name. I forget it. Lucermier. It's a French name. You remember him? And it's decoding the Great Pyramid. And he went in there and he found some really interesting stuff. I haven't really found anything past that. He really brought new material. And since then, it's been a repetition. And people going into trance and channeling. And it's this, it's that. Everybody's all so sure. And I don't think we quite have everything yet. At the end of the day, it was probably built by ETs. Okay. Christ Michael, thank you. Archangel Michael, thank you. Can I ask this question? Yes. Was the pyramids built by ETs? Yes. What was their vibration? They're pretty good. All right? They're pretty good. This piece of wood, what is it? It's high. Where is the 1,000, please? It's very high. Not 33. It's like 20. It's like a 20. All right, and I don't want to go anywhere else. So I just wanted to say that I want to get the other pendulum, and here it is. And so I wanted to ask, does that dream pretend to Kabul, Afghanistan, right? Yes. Oh, I'm surprised. This is about Kabul. Is it a trap to send more troops there? Yes. Is the whole thing a trap? Yes. Is this a Democratic thing? No. Is it a Republican thing? No. Are the are any troops going to die at the airport? It's probably not the right question. Uh, the show me the relationship between the CIA and the Taliban. All right, the CIA and the Taliban. The relationship is very, very close. Or like that. All right. The Pentagon and the Taliban. They're enemies. -10. It's the complete opposite. The complete was the CIA behind this rout of Afghan government forces? Yes. This was designed by the CIA? Yes. And they have how many people on the ground? The CIA has, who knows? This is just my dowsing. I am not the source. This is the opinion of God. All right? Of spirit. 10 plus. Okay. They have about 1,600 CIA military people on the ground. And this is to humiliate the U.S. military. Yes. It's the last, we're not getting this anywhere else. So this is just an opinion from the spirit world, right? Not my opinion. Don't hold it against me. I am just a conduit through the Queen's chamber. The power of the energy comes down through here, through to your pineal. Now, the vaccines also cut off your pineal. Your pineal is, they used to call them like the mushroom cult, because the pineal with mushrooms, psilocybin, you can see the other realms, with practice. I don't think anybody should do this without trained personnel around. But everybody has a birthright to your third eye. And if they're going to use that, and that's one of the many things about this vaccine, is going to cut off your pineal to so you can't see God or hear God or follow your higher self. So that's critical. And it's kind of interesting, all the apparitions, like at Fatima, Lourdes, and the other ones. A lot of them were children, poor children, who saw these apparitions. And they were about events way beyond their emotional intellect, their emotional growth. They're about things, especially Fatima was talking about World War II, World War I, and they're talking about the betrayal within the church, which was Vatican II, to destroy the church, which they're doing right now, but people are trying to stop it. But from that destruction will grow a new church for the new era, and everybody will be part of it in varying ways. We're all going to be accessing, and it's going to be a lot more healthy and fun and rewarding. It's hard to believe. So, I read a book when I was in college, and there's these historical novels. They were really fun to read, and they're very educational and very accurate. They were footnoted and everything, but they're novels, and they're really, and what people don't understand about Afghanistan and Kabul, Afghanistan was always difficult, and the British went in over there and they semi-colonized it in, I'm talking 1830s. Anyway, in about 1842, they had a similar situation where the tribe people at the time had the garrison in Kabul, the British garrison, surrounded, and they're going to starve them out. Winter was coming, things like that. So they made an agreement, the tribes people, the Afghans, that they could leave Kabul, the British troops, would free you can just go. No condition, just leave Kabul. And they go through the Khyber Pass, and then I'm just doing this from memory, so I could be off a little bit. And then at the end, there's another fort at the end of the Khyber Pass. They're going to go there. And as they went through the Khyber Pass, of course, the Afghanis start shooting them all, and they slaughtered all of them, all the British. It's not funny. It's just life. And a couple stragglers might have made it to the fort at the end of the Khyber Pass. And it's Victorian era. It's pre-Victorian when you think of it. 1842. Do you think the Taliban don't know of that great victory? They call it a victory, like lying. They say anything you want. What do you want? They just lie to you. They just lie to you. And they got all killed. And it's similar to the, a couple movies were like that. You know, they kind of go, we'll let you go. We'll guarantee your safety. We guarantee your safety. And as soon as they get out, they slaughter them. You think this Taliban right now is not thinking about that? Even though it's not in their best interest? It's not in their best interest. Their interest is to get rid of all foreigners, all American troops out of Afghanistan. That's a rational thing. That's smart. Whatever it takes, get out of here. They can get their country back. And by the way, I don't have the Taliban holding Afghanistan. My dowsing is completely different than what you're getting on news. I don't think they have Afghanistan yet. They got about 70%, and they got a lot of pros and cons. The country doesn't really support them, and especially after 20 years of Americans being there, they kind of got a taste for the outside world, especially like the internet and things like that, you know. Or Swedish girls in Victoria's Secret, you know, they can see that on the internet. And they can go, God, these women are taller than we are. The point being, it's a different world than 22 years ago. I don't know what's going to happen. I kind of douse it. And I see in 30 days we should see things start going a different way. I see this whole standoff as, I don't want to get into it. Do you understand? I really don't want to get into it. It could really get nasty. The first thing I heard, this was like 5 days ago, whenever they did it, I go, oh, this is the American Embassy in Iran all over again. These guys are all, you know, and basically it's the same deal. We got hostages, we're going to get money, we're going to humiliate the American military. And that's what the CIA wants to do. They want to humiliate the American. It's the last institution is the military that's more or less standing straight up in America that can make any changes happen in this country. And look at this. They look like garbage. Even though it's not their issue, is the Afghan army that collapsed, not the American military. So there's a lot of things I don't want to say other than it's not going to go the way everybody thinks. And this could be the false flag in my dream where an explosion happens and everybody runs to help and there's going to be another explosion. You know, these are just metaphors. You know, this could break out into something very big. I still get 50%. This is just my dowsing. This is not any sources. I get 50% of the Afghan army is kind of still intact. They're floating around. They say, oh, they just all went up. No, they're still there. They got rifles and guns, and they're elsewhere in the. What happened to Libya when Libya broke up into pieces? It created warlords, and the warlords now have big ranks like brigadier general and president for life. You know, and so Libya is like in 2 or 3 pieces, and I wouldn't be surprised the Afghan army, it could break up into pieces because in the future, like a year plus, I see the Taliban really not being a factor. They have a small piece of the country. They had more of the country a month ago, right, before they made this push, than a year from now. So I don't think they're going to be the long-term players. There are other hands in here. There are other players. I see that the Russians and the Pakistanis gained the most, a lot, probably geopolitical strength, politically, trade. I think Pakistan is going to do well because they were always uh, supported the Taliban in a way, and this CIA angle that the CIA was behind the collapse of the Afghan army to create this humiliation of the Pentagon. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And if the Americans become hostages, the American troops, it's going to be the American embassy week after week after week. They're just going to dangle and just slowly cut the military like a eunuch. And American, and this is visual, and this is energy. They'll get weaker and weaker and weaker. So the military, I'm sure they know everything I'm saying. They already know the CIA is in bed with the Taliban. And so what is the relationship between the CIA and the military? Well, it sure looks like the military might have to take the CIA out. You know? It's your sworn enemy. It's like the Soviet Union. This is an enemy, and it's right across the Potomac in Langley or something, right? Wherever Langley is. I don't know the geography there. But the point being, well, this is existential. It's the whole existence and the soul of the United States is at stake here. This is really important. And so is the existence of the American military, which is the rock in which we set ourselves, the Minuteman. It was everything. And somebody in the CIA has created this plan to humiliate the Army. No matter how many nukes you have at the Army, you got the Army guys walking around in high heels, and being politically correct and wearing tutus and being ultra sensitive to everybody's feeling. No, they're soldiers. Everything got out of hand. It's under attack. And I think they know this. They know this. They know the CIA was behind it. And how would you do it? Because the Afghan army, as somebody pointed out, I saw on one of the shows, they've taken tens of thousands of casualties. They fought all this time. I mean, they really did. They were in firefights. They died for this, even though a lot of them needed money. They did it for a job. So all these things are true. It's not believable they all threw their guns down. The only thing that makes sense is someone in the Afghan army betrayed them and ordered everyone to throw down their weapons or cut any deal you can to save your skin. Something came from within the ranks of the Afghan higher up, and the CIA was there. And the CIA has a lot to answer for right now. That's what I see. And this could get really, really ugly because will the military allow their troops to become an American embassy in Iran all over again? To slowly die out there? Or are you just going to punch a hole? Doesn't this remind you of Caesar? Do you remember Caesar? How did Caesar become Caesar? He won this battle in France. What was the battle in France? Well, he had I don't know the number, but it was 30, 40,000 troops. He's in France. He was surrounded by 240,000 French Gauls. And so this is the same thing. The American troops are surrounded by the tribal people, just like Caesar was. So Caesar, they had really interesting thought. So, and he was dug in. They were dug in, and they got surrounded by 240. And the French just kept coming in. The Gauls just kept coming in and getting bigger and bigger. So he ordered them to do a pincher movement through the weakest part they could find in the ring. And when they did that, it was pretty easy. They did that. All the Roman troops just flowed through, the 30,000, and they encircled the French. And one thing that made the Romans really famous is they always dug these trenches. They can do it very quickly, and they're very skilled at it. They built these trenches around. He has the gall surrounded. Every officer in the upper ranks of the Pentagon knows that battle. It's famous. And this is 3,000, I don't know how many troops we have on the ground. Does this cross their mind? Do a pincer movement? You could do it where they're letting everybody through. You know, they have little checkpoints. Americans can't get through. Well, you can just do an ultimatum. Everybody gets through. And if they don't, within 30 minutes, we're going to make a hole here. And you can warn them. And they'll phone. They'll get frantic. Troops move out, make a ring around the ring. Capture the other airborne. Take back all of Kabul. I mean, it's pretty close where they have this thing like, this is Dien Bien Phu in Vietnam. You remember the French? They lost a big war. They always said they lost it, but they did pretty good. But they got to a point where it's overrun. They just the guerrillas just start running towards the base, and they overrun it with just tens of thousands of troops, and no modern equipment can really help. And they used to do it in Vietnam, and you've seen it in stuff. So they could do that. That's probably top of their mind. They can just overrun the whole airfield with thousands and thousands of troops, and it'll just be a bloody mess. But they won't care. It will be reported, this is what the American media does, as a loss for the Americans, especially if the majority of the troops are gone. So they're thinking that way. We can't let it get to that point where we're at a hostage situation. Other things that come to mind is like Fungula, wherever in Iraq. Remember that? That was door-to-door fighting. It was awful. And the Shiites didn't think, or the Sunnis, whoever ran it, but they thought that was their town. No one was going to take it away. And the Marines went in there, and the Army, door to door. It was awful. They took it back. And that's the will. That's the will to fight. And are they going to take Kabul back? How many Taliban are in Kabul? What would you do to take it back if you had to do it? To save the American troops there. Now, don't forget, we have this explosion going off. It could be a trap. This whole thing could be a trap. I mean, I don't have satellite images and knowing what they know. You know, I do have the dream, and I'm going, this sounds like a trap. It could be a big explosion. Are they going to give us free pass to leave? I don't think so. You think the Taliban's going to let all these soldiers go? No. This was an attack by the CIA on the American military. That's what it is. It's very clever. The whole thing is clever. It shows up very clearly in the energy. The CIA is, what's this? What does the CIA think of America and the American people? It's a negative 10. They hate it. Who are these people? In this, they're anti everything America. They're worse than the communists. I don't know. You see this and you're going, wait a minute, how did this animal, this creature, ever get developed? Then you go back and you'll find out how it was developed. What percent of the CIA agents, remember I said there are about 1,600 Army, what percent are Christians? That's a good one. 10. I would say 0 almost. None. Maybe 1%. Maybe 1/10 of 1%. It's like 0. It's nothing. I'm doing that right now. It's nothing. There are no. What percent are atheists? 99%. What percent are, I'm saying another word in my head I can't say. What percent are this? About 50%. Wow. There's a lot of things they can do, but we're running out of time for a peaceful resolution. The military must be talking to the Taliban directly without the CIA in between as a conduit or something. They got to go directly. If they can find a way out to get out peacefully, fine. But you still have all those Americans scattered all over the place. you have all these contractors, which is mercenaries, probably a lot of them are CIA, all over Afghanistan. And when I go down and I look into the future, I don't see Taliban holding anything. They're not as strong. They don't have the support of the majority. They have like 35% support, which is enough. Hitler had 35%. You know, you can wing it. They don't want democratic institutions. Well, they kind of got used to it. You know, they kind of go, well, voting's kind of fun, even though it's probably rigged. At least people out there talking about the issues, and then it's rigged. But the Taliban aren't going to have any of that. And it's not going to fly. And the guy who's the head of the Taliban now, he was a negotiator. But anyway, that's all I'm saying. I don't want to go beyond that. I have done much more dowsing onto different scenarios, what could happen. And I really don't want to say much of anything. I don't want to be karmically tied to this really. This is going to be an epic, if not handled right, this could be a colossal, this could affect the outcome of America. And it could be why the CIA, now remember, the CIA hates America. Look at the Pentagon. 9+. 9 point. They love America. 9.5. What is the CIA? It's like a negative 9.8. Negative. That's total hate. They want America destroyed. That's what it means. That's what's coming from spirit. What are we doing with these guys? And I know when you do the Department of Justice, they're not far behind. And we got really, this is why this whole Trump thing is just being dragged out, because the CIA and the Department of Justice was 100% against Trump because they hate America. And as you said, as I said before, well, look, there's no Christians in the CIA at all. They used to I can't say anything. They used to have more. You know, they used to have a lot of Mormons in the FBI, and a lot of Catholics went over to the CIA and stuff. But that's not the true flavor. The true flavor is anti-God in both of those, against America, and Trump was not able to take them on. They just made stuff up. The news networks just make it up. They don't even get one source. They were so lazy in their writing, making up stories about Trump, it became absurd. Everybody started seeing it was just made up. So we're at a very dangerous spot, and I think my dream is saying it's a very dangerous situation. There's unforeseen traps in Kabul. There's unforeseen traps. And even when I'm talking like, okay, we could be Caesar and we could do that strategically, I'm not even sure if that would work. It's an interesting idea, you know. But those Taliban at the top 100, they all know that battle of 1842. The Americans don't. The American people don't know it. And they would love to replay it as an echo back to their ancestors. They want to do it. And I don't know if our people know that or not. It's like, they're not going to let you guys go. And we doubled down. We put more troops in there. And you remember the essence of my dream was myself and some other people were running towards the explosion to help. So the explosion could be just where we are now, the collapse of the Afghan army. And they're trying to decide whether to double down and send like 20, 30, 40,000 troops. How do you get them there safely without, and things like that? Are the neighboring countries going to cooperate? No, I don't think so. China's not going to cooperate, and Pakistan's not going to cooperate, and Iran's not going to cooperate, and the guys up north are former Soviet Union. That is the exit. It has to come from the north. And I think Pakistan is never our friend. Never. I don't even know what we're doing there. It's beyond we shouldn't be there. No one should be in Pakistan. Let China have it. China wants to, beat up on India, go through Pakistan. Pakistan is pushing us away, and they're taking our billions and billions and billions. It's not our job. It's really not our job. Here, let's say, and Pakistan's an important piece of this puzzle because that tribe goes over on both sides of the border with Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the rest of the tribes don't like them. And that's kind of the Taliban leadership. Uh, I don't care about detail here. This is about energy. What does Pakistan feel towards America? It's a -9. They hate us. They hate us. They hate us. What does the average Afghan people think in general towards America? It's not good. It's about a -7. I'll get a -6. I'll call it a poor versus hate. All right. They don't care for us, but being that bad. A month before Saigon fell, what did the South Vietnamese people feel about America, the Americans? Let's see it. It's almost the same, -5. So the Afghan people are negative. What did people in Kabul feel about Americans in America? It's a +1. It's a +1, +2. What does the people of Kabul feel about the Taliban? They hate them. They hate them. So, you know, the people that are exposed to an urban lifestyle, you know, and being, you know, all that television, they're picking up some of our bad habit cultures, and yeah, that's pretty interesting. So that's where we are. I do have predictions to make, but I'm not going to make them. You know, do you see? I just wanted to kind of give you a quick dowsing, the lay of the land, and let me ask, what percent of the top 100 American officers know about Caesar? And they all know it. It's 100%. They all know that battle. It's famous. You should go look it up. It's just awesome. It's how Caesar, with that glory, went into Rome and became emperor. That was it. That was his ticket. What percent know about 1842? None of them knew it. Wow. They don't know this. This is important information. There's 10. Let's say right now, what percent know? They don't know it. They're crazy. They're nuts. They got to know this. Okay, there's 10. All right, maybe 1 or 2%. Maybe 1 or 2 officers might know about that battle, and I don't know if I have the battle exactly, but it's around there, because then they had the Sepoy Rebellion of 1856, and that was it gives you some of these battles like that give you a little insight into how their culture works and what they value. And you can honor your ancestors by replicating that battle and being successful. They can't go into negotiations with the Taliban, which I think they are right now. And if the CIA is involved, the American military is screwed. And if they don't know about that battle, I'm not saying don't negotiate with the Taliban, because I think the best route is to negotiate your way out. Maybe what Trump was saying, if you renege on any land, like if you start killing our soldiers, we're going to retaliate with everything we have, with everything. And it's not going to be pretty, and the casualties will be high on both sides. And they have to understand that. And maybe you can get out alive. Maybe you can get out alive. All the troops. Right now, I'm just making those things aware. You know, just the top of my head, things that I think history repeats itself a lot of times. And I don't know important things. You really don't know the personalities that are going on back and forth. But I think it's very important that the CIA, this is my last question. How much was the CIA responsible for the collapse of the Afghan army? How much was the CIA responsible for the collapse of the Afghan army? 94%, 95%. Did they initiate plans and implement plans to cause the collapse of the Afghan army. Yes. Did they do this to destroy the military, the U.S. military? To humiliate and mortally wound the military? Yes, 95%. It's not a battle between Afghan and America. It's a battle between two American government institutions. And the military is in a pickle. And the military is for the American people. And the CIA is against the American people. And remember what Alex Jones and Steve Pachinik, the Jewish CIA agent who retired, and he was involved with all the Iran-Contra and all the drug smuggling. He's involved in everything. And I think he knows the people in Iran from 30 years ago. He has a lot of information. He's been quiet. But he said it was the CIA who did 9/11. All right? With the Mossad, that sort of thing. But that's going to be the 900-pound gorilla sitting in the middle of the living room. Is what is this organization doing? What is the CIA doing? This is really bad stuff. And this is a reading from God, the higher dimensions. It's for you. It's for you. If you don't see this, these are simple things. I'm not an Afghan expert. I never been to. I know a little Farsi, maybe. Yek dose chaha pan shish hafas noda. Yeah. Bisu yek bisu do. Bisu say. That's 21, 22. It's kind of similar to Spanish. What do you call it? Vente or bente uno, Bente uno, bente dos, bente tres. So listen to this. Bente dos, right? Bisu do. It's kind of the same language. I mean, those two things are. It's at one time everybody spoke the same language back then, but it kind of bleeped through. And anyway, that's Farsi. In the Farsi part near Iran, they're they don't get along with the Taliban all that well. I mean, they do and they don't. They have a common enemy as us. When we're gone, they're going to fight. I just assume everybody knows that. It's not going to be a unified Afghanistan. It'll break down into a civil war. It's just because we are there, we unify all the tribes. And when we're gone, so there's some complexities here. But the American military cannot lose vis-a-vis the Iran hostage. It can't be that way. We can't have them disarmed. It can't happen. Because that will have an ultimate impact on America. It will be a false flag like you never saw. This is a design. This is by design, everything we're seeing, except for the authenticity of the American troops in the airport. That's real. They are for us. Those are the good guys. Anyway, I can go on forever. It's like I'm not predicting the future here. We're just kind of feeling the energy. This is it. These are the players. And what would you do? Well, I'm not the general. The general of the Marines and the Army, they're sitting down and they're going, well, what's the mission here? The ultimate mission, realistic, is that America pulls up its troops and goes home. We get out. We get out with all the American people that want to leave. We'll probably not get the equipment, fine. And then we get out and say goodbye, and never return. I don't have China doing well in Afghanistan. Everybody says, the China is going to go in and grab it. Nothing. They are basically what they are now, that's what they'll be. It's like, it's neither for the Taliban and for any Afghan, they have to live with China. So they're not going to go to war with China, but they're not going to embrace them either. It's neutral. It's business. You want to do a little trading? Fine. But they're not going to let too many Chinese in. They know what they're doing to the Muslim people in China. I mean, they know all this. So China will not gain. I have Russia gaining a lot. And I have Pakistan gaining a lot because the Taliban operated out of Pakistan with the government support for many, many years. And there's a billions at stake. So when we go, a lot of that money, bakshish, is going to disappear. And then they're going to start fighting each other, because there's not, they keep talking about all these minerals in Afghanistan. Well, good luck going in there and digging them up. They're all in the ground, and it's going to be difficult to get them out of the ground because everybody's going to have their hand out. And that's going to be a lot of bakshish to pay off. The Russians are capable of doing it. They'll pay the bakshish. And if they can get security, maybe their companies can get a lot of rare earth and other minerals. And there's other things going on in Afghanistan. This was all done on purpose. This was all planned. And it's really amazing the Army got caught flat-footed. And the reason they did is they were betrayed. This is all about betrayal within the U.S. government. That's what it's about. And we'll find peace in the world. I'm going to do prayers for all the American troops that a correct decision is made. And I hope you're going to do the same. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.